My name is William. When I was a student at the Pritzker School of Medicine at the University of Chicago, I interviewed a patient who had moved to a nursing home. Listen to his story. If you are currently considering such a decision, moving to a nursing home, this interview will help you make an informed choice. At the age of 82, I have learned a lot in life, but there is one decision I deeply regret: moving to a nursing home. At that time, it seemed like the right decision. My family encouraged this, promising that I would have all the necessary care and comfort. I trusted them, but as soon as I got there, I realized that reality was nothing like what I had imagined. I know that many of you may be considering this option, whether for yourself or for a loved one. Perhaps you feel that this is the safest decision, or maybe you were told that it would make life easier. But before you take this step, I want to share 6 things I wish someone had told me before I moved there. The truth is, life in a nursing home is not just about convenience. This changes everything. Once you get there, getting out is not as easy as you might think. Stay with me until the very end, as some of these lessons might surprise you. If you know someone who is considering moving to a nursing home, this video might be exactly what they need to hear before making a decision that could change their life. Well, let's begin. The first regret: the loss of independence. The biggest shock after moving to a nursing home was not the small room, not the strictly scheduled meal times, and not even the unfamiliar faces. It was the realization that I had lost control over my own life. Before I moved, I had my own daily routine. I decided for myself when to wake up, when to eat, and how to plan my day. I could walk whenever I wanted, cook my own meals, or simply sit quietly in my favorite chair with a book. But in the nursing home, I quickly realized that my time no longer belonged to me. Everything was going according to a schedule that wasn't mine. Breakfast was always served at the set time, even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out happened at a strictly set time, regardless of whether I was ready to sleep or not. Do you want to take a walk outside? You may need permission, and you will likely have to wait until someone comes to assist you. Simple decisions, such as what to eat or even what to wear, began to be perceived as privileges rather than basic options. I remember my first week there, when I woke up in a bed that didn't feel like mine. I sat down, stretched, and reached for the book I was reading at home. But when I looked around the room, it dawned on me, this was not my home. My books, my favorite armchair, the little comforts I had gathered over the years, all disappeared. In their place were sterile walls, a bed I didn't choose, and a feeling I couldn't shake. I was no longer in control of my life. The most difficult thing? The realization that once you lose your independence, it becomes almost impossible to regain it. You adapt because you have to. You stop arguing when you are told it's time for dinner. You stop asking for permission to go for a walk whenever you feel like it. You try to fit into their system, but in the process, you start losing yourself. If you are considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make your life uniquely yours? Because once they are gone, you will miss them more than you could ever imagine. The second regret: feeling forgotten. One of the hardest truths about moving into a nursing home is the realization that the world outside continues to move on without you. When I first arrived, my family assured me that they would visit me often. I believed them, and at first, that's exactly what they did. My daughter visited me once a week. My grandchildren came to see me on weekends. And for a while, it felt like I still had a connection to my old life. But as the months passed, the visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of coming over. My grandchildren were busy with studies and work. The holidays were the most difficult. Everyone promised they would come, but somehow the plans always changed at the last minute. And suddenly I realized that I was sitting alone in the common room, watching the other residents gaze at the door, hoping that someone would remember them today. It's not that my family stopped loving me. Life just got in the way. When you're not around every day, people easily assume that you're fine, that you're coping, and that you don't need so much attention. But the truth is that the longer you stay in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to forget how much you need them. I remember how one evening I was sitting in my room, holding the phone, and wondering whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I didn't want to remind him that I was here, waiting for a visit that might never happen. That's why I hung up the phone. And then it hit me. This is now my life. Watching the days go by and hoping someone remembers to invite me. If you are considering moving to a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready for loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, as soon as you disappear from sight, it becomes easier to fade from memory than you might think. If you are still watching this video and find these ideas valuable, please leave a comment with the number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you to do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. And now let's move forward. The third regret, the loss of meaning in life. When I moved to the nursing home, I thought I was just changing my place of residence. I didn't realize that I was changing and losing the purpose of my life. I had responsibilities at home. I had a clear daily routine, favorite hobbies, and a reason to get up in the mornings. Even the little things, watering plants, making my own coffee, cleaning my space, gave my life meaning. But in the nursing home, these daily rituals disappeared. The food was prepared, especially for me. The cleaning was done by someone else. Plants are living organisms that play a crucial role in the ecosystem. They produce oxygen, absorb carbon dioxide, and form the foundation of the food chain. Without plants, life on Earth would be impossible. Well, they were no longer mine to take care of. At first, I told myself that it would be nice to finally relax. No more household chores, no more responsibilities, just rest. But after a few weeks, I realized that something was missing. The days seemed long, stretched out, and there was nothing to do but wait. I have noticed this with other residents as well. People who were once full of energy now spent their days sitting idly, staring into space, waiting for time to pass. There was a man named George who was 84 years old. He had spent his entire life working as a carpenter. At home, he was always fixing something, working on small projects in his garage. But there were no tools, no projects, nothing he could create here. I watched as he slowly withdrew. His hands, once strong and skillful, now lay idle on his knees. "I feel useless," he told me once, and I knew exactly what he meant. When you no longer have anything to care about or strive for, life begins to lose its meaning. The mind begins to slow down. The body follows him, and soon you start to feel like just another resident in a place where time moves, but in reality, nothing changes. If you are considering a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because as soon as you move, finding a purpose is not as easy as filling your time. It is about the struggle to hold on to what makes you feel alive. The fourth regret. My health deteriorated faster than I expected. Before I moved to the nursing home, I felt good for my age. I never ran marathons, but I could still take care of myself, go for walks, and cook my own meals. I had my little habits that kept me active. Going grocery shopping, morning stretching, and even simple walks around the house to keep my legs in shape. But as soon as I moved, everything changed. At first, it seemed like I was just relaxing. Food was brought to me, and I no longer had to stand in the kitchen to cook. If I needed something, I could just press a button and someone would come to help. But I didn't realize that the less I did for myself, the weaker I became. I stopped moving so much, and soon my legs became stiffer. I spent more time sitting than before. And before I realized it, getting up from the chair became a routine for me. The muscles I had spent years building disappeared faster than I could have ever imagined. This concerned not only me. I have seen this happen to others. People who used to walk on their own suddenly became dependent on wheelchairs. People who were once independent now needed help with things they had never encountered before. The more help we received, the more we needed it. I remember my neighbor Alice, an 81-year-old woman who was very active when she first moved here. She walked around the institution every day, insisting that she wasn't going to slow down just because of her age. But after a few months, I noticed that she started walking less often. Later, she started using a walker, and then she switched to a wheelchair. One day she looked at me and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." That's exactly how I felt. When you stop using your body, you start losing it. In a nursing home, where everything is designed to make life easier, it's easy to forget that movement is not just about convenience. This is a matter of survival. If I had known how quickly I would lose my strength, I would have fought harder to keep moving forward, stay active, and push myself even when I didn't feel like it. If you are considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to keep your body strong when everything is designed to make life easier? Because once you slow down, getting back into the rhythm won't be as easy as you think. If you are still watching this video and find these ideas valuable, please leave a comment with the number 4 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend that you do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Your support enables us to continue creating quality content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move on to the 5th regret, the loss of privacy and dignity. The 5th regret, the loss of privacy and dignity. One of the things I didn't fully realize before moving to a nursing home was how much I would lose my privacy. At home, I had my own personal space. I could close the bedroom door, sit in silence if I wanted, and do everything my way. In a nursing home, privacy is a luxury that is not always attainable. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was constantly being watched. The staff kept coming in and out, conducting routine checks of the rooms and common areas where you rarely find yourself alone. Even simple tasks like getting dressed or going to the bathroom often required assistance from others. I understand that they were just doing their job, but it's hard for me to accept help with things I have always done on my own. I remember my first week when I struggled with the thought that I now had to ask for permission for things I used to do without thinking. Do you want to take a shower? You might have to wait until someone becomes available to help. Do you need to use the restroom? Sometimes pressing the call button can mean having to wait longer than desired. Even the choice of dishes was limited. If you don't like what's on the menu that day, well, that's very unfortunate. Then a problem with roommates arose. Not everyone gets a separate room, and sharing space with someone you didn't choose can be unpleasant. I was lucky to have a kind roommate, but I've heard stories from others who weren't as fortunate. Some people had roommates who were noisy, messy, or even had cognitive issues that made sleeping almost impossible. No matter how hard you try to make your room feel like home, it will never truly be yours. Dignity is something that is hard to lose, and I did not realize how much of myself I would have to give up until I found myself in that situation. When people knock but don't always wait for an answer before entering, when they talk to you like a patient rather than a person, when your daily routines are dictated by a schedule you didn't create, it changes you. You start feeling less like yourself and more like just another name on the list. If you are considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the privacy and control you have had all your life? Because once it is lost, it will be difficult to get back. The sixth regret, the realization that leaving is much harder than you thought. When I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself it was temporary. I decided to give it a try, see how things go, and if I don't like it, I can always leave. But I didn't realize how difficult it would be to get out once I got there. At first, it seemed simple. If I don't like something, I'll just go back home. But the house was no longer the same. My house had been empty for a long time, and maintaining it from a distance became difficult. My children have already started making changes, selling things they think I won't need anymore, and even considered renting out this place. When I raised the issue of returning, they began to hesitate. Are you sure you can handle it on your own? Isn't it safer to stay? We just want the best for you. Then the problem of physical decline arose. After several months of living in a place where I didn't have to cook, clean, or even walk very far, I was no longer as strong as I used to be. The independence I once had began to slip away, making the idea of returning home much more difficult than I had ever imagined. I was not confident in my ability to live alone, and this fear constantly troubled me. I met others who had a similar experience. They assumed they would try living in a nursing home for a while, but eventually realized that leaving was not as easy as they initially thought. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to adapt to life outside of it. Some people have even completely lost the opportunity. Once their house was sold, or their savings were exhausted due to the cost of care, there was no way back. This is what no one tells you about. Moving seems like a decision that can be undone, but for most people, it is not. The nursing home gradually becomes your entire world. And before you realize it, the outside life you once knew begins to feel like a distant memory. If you are considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the fact that once you are there, leaving might not be as easy as you initially thought? Because once you settle in, the barriers to leaving, whether financial, physical, or emotional, may be harder to overcome than you expect. If you are still watching this video and find these ideas valuable, please leave a comment with the number 6 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you to do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Your support enables us to continue creating quality content to inform and inspire you. Final thoughts. Looking back, I don't regret growing older, but I regret believing that a nursing home was my only option. I went there expecting comfort, safety, and a better quality of life. Instead, I found myself in a world that was slowly taking away my independence, my personal life, my purpose, and even my sense of self-worth. Does this mean that nursing homes are bad? It is not necessary. Some people truly need the level of care that they provide to others. But before making this decision, carefully consider what you are giving up. Because once you move, life will never be the same again. If I could start over, I would fight harder to stay in my own home, explore more ways to get help without sacrificing my freedom, and make sure I really needed to be there before making such a permanent move. If you are facing this decision, I hope you will take the time to ask yourself, is this truly what is best for me? Or is it just what seems easiest right now? Because the life you have today, your habits, your independence, and your choices are worth holding on to for as long as possible. Thank you for joining us today. We will be happy to hear from you. If this video was helpful to you, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends and loved ones. Your support means a lot to me. Subscribe to our channel to not miss new videos about health, longevity, and improving quality of life. I will regularly share useful tips and recommendations that will help you stay active and energetic at any age. And of course, I am always happy to hear your comments. Share your stories and experiences, because together we can inspire each other to live a healthier life.